Dr. Umar Johnson has
Even
a
in
message.
China, there's certain places you can go are black skin with nappy hair, Asian face structure. And I had a chance to visit a Buddhist temple, but was a black man. And when you look at statues of Buddha, we see the locks and the twisties. The modern phenotype to the past 100 years or so.
Human race. Studies show that the so-called African Americans, if they continue to breed with a lighter breed of people, their children and the next population of African American in the next 100 years will appear as a lighter complexion, just like the Chinese did.
He doesn't get the modern phenotype of the Asian until the past 100 years or so. Ancient statue clearly shows him as an African. Same thing with the god of the Vedic tradition. Means the black one. We're the first to build every civilization everywhere. So if you're in Mexico, if you're in Europe, who were the first Europeans? The Grimaldis of Africa, who migrated 20 to 40,000 years ago. And in the process of climatology.
And Yaku's trigonology and selective breeding. Yaku, the first albino born to the tribe of Shabazz in Africa. He breeded with thousands of African women after he was exiled to the Caucasus Mountains. If the baby came out light, he let it live. If the baby came out dark, he threw it in the ocean and did a process of selective breeding for 100 years. His followers continue for another 2,000 years. Which caused them to
lost the pigmentation, the deep pigmentation that we have.
Yaku grafted these people to rule over the melanated people. It's in their DNA and instincts to rule this type of behavior is ungodly because all God's children are equal.
So no matter where you go, we were the first people.
Have you ever went to a Chinese food store, anything other than a Chinese person?
Yeah, I
Never.
have.
The question, Envy, is why is that? Because every culture comes to America to build an economic empire for themselves. The Chinese, Arab, Latino, America comes to build a cultural empire. Except African American town. There's no place in Black America you can go. 4 essential institutions needed for a community: bank, school, market, hospital. Black America in 2016, we spent $2 billion on Air Jordans, $4 billion on liquor and alcohol, $100 million on fast food, and we bought twice the amount of Mercedes Benzes as white America, although white America has twice the wealth of black folk. And it's because it's a status symbol. The Louis bag is so important. That's why I kill for Air Jordans. It's what it represents. And if I believe I'm worthless, I can only add value to myself by what I put on my body as opposed to what I put in.
How do we slow that down? Because since
it's about priorities. I was at a home ownership seminar. He was from a bank, and he was honest. I agree with him. It's not always about racism, although that was incorrect. That he made next was correct. The problem is when y'all come to us for African Americans walk into a white bank for a loan, what disqualifies you isn't even your credit, your employment history. It's your priority. Buy your car before you buy your house. Have decent income. Already bought the caddy truck, the Benz, the Mercedes. Look for a home after the car. That if you fall into tough economic time, decision between your mortgage or your car, you're going to pay your car note first.
Yeah, because I ain't bringing that truck, man.
And remember, after the Dr. King assassination, America decided on a social policy of never allowing the black agenda to be primary ever. So whenever a president is elected, they automatically a non-black minority issue that will pretty much define their campaign. Obama, it was the LBGT. Got elected, he went to war for the LBGT. All legal decisions are based on precedent. This not only goes back to Trayvon, it goes back to Rodney. It's going to soon become totally comfortable and acceptable for America to get away with killing black people. Unapologetic white racist power. And America was founded on that. We'll look at what the Constitution guarantees. But the Constitution never included. From a racist standpoint, the fact that black people are citizens is unconstitutional. When Thomas Jefferson and Alexander Hamilton and George Washington down to write that document, did they ever intend for black people to be citizens of America? Not. Until we hate racism more than we hate each other, nothing's going to change. Our problem is totally mental. But you know what we're lacking? That cultural commitment to ourselves. We're the only group who don't have it.
Like before we could fight racism, we have to fight self-hate. Each other.
We're anti-African identity crisis and psychological homelessness. Black people know they're not American. They will fight like hell to protect that identity because deep down within our subconscious, we were all by the same superstructure.
When you live with white folks, you're doing well.
Exactly. Excellence is outside of your community. Only people who have a standard of excellence and ideal to achieve that was created by our oppressors.
See, I always thought black was the shit. When it came to business, I would always hear my father say, that's why you can't do business with no niggas.
Pride is superficial, intellectual, but it's not. For example, we had a lot of great scholars. Take my ancestor, Frederick Douglass, who knew their history and still married white women. First wife, Anna Murray Douglas, a blue, black, purple chocolate woman with nappy hair, who birthed all of his children. It was after she died that he married a white woman. Had Fred that white woman, he would be undisputed black leader that ever walked on American soil. Sometimes when you are of mixed racial ancestry, I don't even like to talk about because 300 biracial or multiracial. This is a modern thing, this whole multicultural movement. Frederick Douglass was never called biracial. He was called the N-word like the rest of us. There was no separation until the 20th when America realized that we can use black themselves by giving them a new set of identities that allows them to disidentify and identify more appropriately with us. But the point I'm making for that validation.
You said mistake. People are going to be mad at you by saying he made a mistake by marrying a white woman. Why do you say that's a mistake? Because the man fell in love with who he fell in love with?
Because marriage is a political decision. Who you marry tells me who you marry a woman. You don't just marry her. You marry her culture, community. You marry her people. You understand? So when a black man marries a woman, he's making several messages he's sending out to his own people. Because there's no greater symbol to your struggle than to marry who shares that man named Loving from Virginia sued up to the Supreme Court for the right to marry a black woman. Up until after they struck miscegenation law across the country, 19 men have married outside their race, more than the men of races in America put together. How do you explain the reason black men marry is because they wish they were white, having the white man's prize, his queen, logical symbol to that I'm equal to him. You can't be in love with white women and feel inferior to white men. Love is the most political thing. Just like we try to separate religion.
Puerto Rican,
Cuba and Puerto Rico, two largest slave ports. Up until the 1800s. We're not talking about giving opportunity to individuals. We're talking about systematic opportunity. 6 degrees. America gave me a doctorate. I've never been to jail, but I'm one black man from America's universities. By the child in America only knows what race is. So at 4, your child knows that I'm black. People don't get respect. I'm white, and my people are already given. Then you're going to have to explain away the Dow study. We 25 black girls from the schools right here in New York City. The black Dows, the same Dow experiment that was done 60 years ago for a decision, and say ugly? Which one would you rather be?
That's conditioning too. You're not going to instill that in your kids.
The society will do it.
Society can brainwash your kids better than you.
Are you kidding me? We are of social network. This is the millennial generation. Yes.
Me and you, I don't think so. Our kids like. You're telling me, right? If my black son, a white girl,
how old is he?
Not for nothing. He's 13.
Yes.
We live in an area that is predominantly white. Why?
Okay.
Better school system, better education.
I got you.
So if he brings home a white girl, I should be like,
we need to have a conversation.
You shouldn't date her.
Yes, sir.
I don't agree with that.
And let me tell you why.
But let me like mayonnaise now.
But son, loyalty to his community. European Jews do it. Arabs do it. We're the only people who feel ambivalent about telling our black boys and marry a black woman. Feel ambivalent because all of us have been conditioned envy blind. We're constantly told again that it is wrong to be for yourself or anyone else. Hence our dead last.
I don't agree.
It's being loyal to yourself.
There's nothing wrong.
Yes, sir.
I can't tell my son who he connects with.
Woman can ever understand your son's struggle? Can that white woman ever son's struggle?
Fuck no.
Thank you. So why would you want him to spend with a woman who can never understand when the New York City Police Department pull over? A woman who can feel you. And the only woman who can understand the black man is the black. I cannot respect a black man to a black woman. That's the greatest symbol in self. We must neutralize the black power. And they determined that the black power base was the black. It was independent black men and women who financed King, financed Mr. Muhammad, financed SNCC, Freedom Riders, in the sit-in movement. So they said, if we got to crush the black family. 1970. King dies in 1970. They came into the black communities, industrialized our city centers. They started shutting down the factories. Up until the 50s and 60s, you didn't need a college degree to get it. Many of us got grandparents who worked in factories and lived better lives than we're living now. They could work in their same neighborhood, the factory, good retirement, pension, benefits. They started shutting down the factories in 1970 to the high schools and did what? Started in the inner city high schools. Up until 1970, almost any school in New York, certified as an electrician, certified as auto body, brick mason, a welder. All those programs out. These are the skills, gentlemen. As long as you have a skill, your family. But if all you got is college degrees, unemployment line. Why? Because the skills that we learn are not necessarily marketable. I'm a psychologist. Black people running around looking for psychologist skeletons in their closet.
Yeah, you
so
rather talk
started sending us to college instead of our hands. That was the 70s. That was the economic castration of the black male. Now let's go. They drop off crack. So now the unemployed has always been a breadwinner. Even in slavery, we were always the breadwinner. Up until now the crack comes. You got to sell this crack and try to put some food on the table and smoke it to deal with I'm no longer economically relevant. And let's be clear, decade of the 70s, decade of making the black man irrelevant to the black woman. We're the only man in America who is out-educated by our mates. No other woman out-earns and out-educates their mates. Black woman's problem, I want to be clear, This was done to make us irrelevant to our families. Then Bill Clinton crime bill. Say you out. Mandatory Bill Clinton crime bill. Now black men who got caught or selling crack now being sent. And then they also give us the ADHD, dope the kids up, the same medicine that sent the father to jail. 2000 come, George Bush hits us with the BASE initiative. He finds a loophole that allows you to finance churches. So now the medium-sized churches in the black community, Charlemagne, are being financed by the... You think it's a coincidence, Envy, that you don't see involved in the miseducation movement? No major church mass incarceration movement? No major in police genocide? No major church in poverty? Where is the black church when it comes to black people issues? They're missing to struggle. And that's why it's called faith-based initiative. We got over 2 million African Americans with masters and doctorate degrees unemployed in the United States soup kitchen. I'm getting emails from Dr. Johnson. I can't find a job. A lawyer? A black